Hey everybody, welcome to the couch for episode 20, if I'm not mistaken. And it doesn't matter if I am. I'm just glad you're here. I'm feeling just a little bit foggy this morning because I woke up at the same time I always do. I've been trying to wake up earlier these days. But I had stuff to do. I had an interview I had to do with the local paper about the toy drive and about music and being Christopher Gold in the middle of a pandemic, which was interesting. But the point is, I didn't get my normal. It takes me a long time to power up, you know. I can get out of bed early, but my brain stays asleep for a couple hours. So I had to jump right into my day. And interviews are weird. For me, the fact that I'm someone who very rarely people are interested in talking to is a little bit like, well, it's sort of like having tattoos. If you're watching the video, you can see I have some tattoos. But in my day-to-day life, I'm not aware of it at all. Most of the visible ones have been there for, in some cases, almost 20 years. And the people I interact with every day don't seem to notice them, and you just feel like a person. And then you have interactions with people that don't see you the way you see yourself, as normally as you see yourself. For example, I was at a grocery store many years ago, looking like this, tattoos and the hair and I was probably wearing the same jacket I always wear with like holes in it and that kind of thing. And there was this little old lady in line behind me, and she had this massive bag of dog food. And I turned and I picked up the dog food to set it on the little conveyor belt thing. And believe me when I tell you, this lady flipped out. It's not funny because I feel bad that I guess she was frightened. But she started yelling for security in a store that didn't have security guards, because I guess she thought I was stealing dog food that she didn't own yet. And I was doing it right in front. I was stealing it from her, but I was still going to pay for it somehow. And but all she saw was it was my fault for not sort of surveying the situation and guessing that this was a possibility. But she just saw a big tattooed guy taking stuff out of her cart. I should have said, hey, can I give you a hand with that? But the point is, I was walking around thinking, I'm the kind of guy that helps little old ladies. And she was walking around thinking, that dude's going to mug me and steal dog food I haven't paid for yet. So all that to say, sometimes, very rarely people take an interest in me as a musician or as a person doing things. And they want to talk about it. And it's a strange thing to go do that. I didn't go anywhere, I just did it over the phone. But to participate in that when you don't see yourself as someone who should be getting interviewed, I remember I got to open for Robert Earl Keen, who's like a legendary songwriter. And it was at this theater, and nobody there knew me, but just the vibe of the night was such that as I walked out on stage, they all just started clapping. And I thought three things. I thought, cool, that's pretty cool. I thought, I'm not the kind of person that should have this kind of power. And I thought just how weird it is that like 10 minutes ago, I was just hanging out with my wife and talking to my son and chatting with a buddy and just being a dude. And then all of a sudden, for some reason, 1,000 people were applauding me for doing literally nothing at the time. So it was strange. But you know, I think the part of me that thinks it's strange is the part of me that has hopefully so far safeguarded me from turning into a monster. I think the worst kind of people just pursue that kind of attention, and I'm at my best the way I feel about myself when I just pursue good songs and good relationships with people. It is fun though when you walk out on a stage and 1,000 people clap for you. It's a good time. Let's have some coffee. That kind of entrance usually only happens when you're opening for somebody. The opening spots are happening less and less these days, with the touring economy being the way that it is. A lot of when you see a show that says like an evening with so and so, that basically just means there's not gonna be an opener. And I have a lot of complicated feelings about that, because on the one hand I totally understand it. On the other hand, opening spots are a huge part of my life and a huge part of currently how the industry works. And if you take away opening spots, you leave this sort of mysterious, unknown space between being at a certain level and being at a next level. There's supposed to be a middle level that is opening for bigger bands. And, you know, it's fun and it's a great way to expand your crowd. One of the reasons I find myself maybe missing it a little bit less is because with COVID, and one of the things COVID has done for me is it's taken away a lot of pursuits. And when you take away a pursuit, you get the chance to reevaluate the pursuit. And in my case, you realize, like, I don't think I want to be chasing that thing the way that I was. Because for me, you know, I grew up thinking that, like, the way it happens is you write good songs and you play around your town and that kind of thing, and then a bigger band finds you and they like take you out on tour, and then maybe you get signed to that same record label, and then here we go. And that's not really how it works anymore. It is how it worked when I was a kid, but it's hard to shake the ideas that formed you know? So there's always been some part of me, I think, that thought, oh, if I open for so-and-so and I do really well and we get along, you know, maybe they'll take me out on tour, and then next thing you know, here we go. And that obviously did not happen. And I don't think is going to happen that much anymore for anybody. But in the absence of that pursuit, what I've realized is I had a lot of experiences that I should have enjoyed more than I did. Because I didn't experience them. I had these amazing experiences that I was treating as like the beginning of a bigger experience, when really, in hindsight, it was just an experience, and I missed most of it because I wasn't paying attention. Like without dropping names or anything, like I've gotten to open for a lot of people that have meant a lot to me and that I've really admired. And in one instance, I opened for this guy that I really like his music, and we met before the show, and he was really nice, and we got along really well. And I played my set, and he watched the whole thing, and he applauded, and he was nice. And then I watched his set, and at the end, he brought me up on stage to sing a song with him, and it was great. And some part of me was barely there because I was thinking, oh, it's working. We're becoming friends, and you know, it's going to be something big, instead of, you know, what an amazing night that was, and, you know, on to the next one, instead of feeling like, you know, there was a time where I looked back on that experience as a negative experience because it didn't become what I hoped it would become or whatever. And truth be told, that's kind of an embarrassing thing to admit, but I didn't realize that till I had already admitted it to you. And huge parts of this podcast, I think, are embarrassing, and that's fine. I think being embarrassed and doing stuff that like, I shouldn't have done that. Why'd I do that? That's one of the things that connects us all as human beings. It's one of the most common experiences, and it's the one that we often keep the most secret for some reason. So, I think I'm just trying to be, part of it is I'm just trying to be more present in my daily life, and that means that if I get the chance to open for someone that I love, I'm just going to try to enjoy that now. But I think another part of it means that my real joy can only be in the moment, because the moment is all that I have. Which means this idea of like trying really hard to get such and such a show in hopes that it will lead to a tour, in hopes that it will lead to like a record deal or something like those even exist anymore, it's not possible to find joy in that, because it all takes place in the future. So now I'm trying to just be here. Right now I'm shooting this podcast for everybody, and I'm having a good time doing it, and I feel good about the things that I'm learning by doing it, and I feel good about the way people are receiving it. And I'm going to play you a song that I like, and I'm proud of it, and I am certain that it will not make me famous, and I'm certain that it won't make me rich. And when I call myself a nobody from nowhere, I'm not being self-deprecating. I'm being factual and observant. But I can get some joy out of that. And I think there's room for growth in that too. Like I love traveling, and I would love to do more of it, and I would love to get my songs to more people. But I don't want to live a joyless life because I'm working towards something that is out of my control. So, for now, I am happy to be here with y'all and playing you songs and hoping that you like them. And drinking coffee. I love coffee. All right, let's do you a song. This one, I haven't told you guys this yet. I have an EP coming out on December 7th. It's called Even If, and it's just a digital thing, but it'll be on Bandcamp, which is the most helpful way to buy stuff for me, and it'll be everywhere else in time. Hopefully it'll be on December 7th, but eventually it'll be streaming everywhere. What it is 5 songs that I wrote while I was having my throat problems, and true to form, the second I started feeling some relief, I set up some microphones, I sat down, and I played these songs. And most of them are first takes, and a couple of them even have little, I mean, who am I kidding? They all have imperfections, but some of them have, like, in another world, in another time, I might have gone back and redone that. But I really liked the idea of, this is me sitting on my couch playing in the thrill of feeling some relief from my throat issues. And since then, my throat has gotten even better. It's not at 100% yet, but it's really, really getting there. And thank you all for the support with that. And I've thought, like, I could go back and do it and maybe do it better, but it wouldn't be the same thing. And I sometimes think the way you make a record and when you make a record and why you make a record is as important or more important than what is on the record or the performances that were captured. And the thing I'm really excited about with this EP is that it's just me on this couch with this guitar, actually, playing 5 songs. I didn't add anything to it. I didn't even hardly mix it or, anything like that. I just, it's the least distance between a finished song and a released song that I've ever done. There were no demos. There was no, I could put a bass on there. I could add a little mandolin. It was just, this is what the song sounded like when I wrote it. And I'm really excited, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Like I said, it'll be out December 7th, and this song is on it. If memory serves, it's the first song. It's called A Little Longer. And it's about a lot of things. Sometimes I feel like I'm kind of over writing songs about just the one thing. Like my entire output has not been about one thing. I've never put out a record that's just about one thing. And I kind of keep whittling that down. And now I've gotten to like, does a song need to be about one thing? As long as there's like some connective tissue that makes it make sense. And I think this song is about empathy without trying to fix. It's about looking at myself and at other people and going, that's hard. You know, I understand why that would be hard. And then just sort of being there, going like, yeah, that's hard. And not trying to offer any kind of fix or any kind of opinion. Like the first verse is about a lot of people that I have seen this year especially kind of learn things about people they love, often politically, that made them want to not be around them anymore. But it didn't make them stop loving them. And without weighing in on how that should go or what you should do in that situation, I felt comfortable weighing in on like, ooh, that must be hard. That must hurt to love somebody that you don't like anymore, you know? And I'm grateful to not be in that position, but I think I understand it, and I think I have been in that position. And then the rest of the song is just about just identifying like maybe just trying is enough sometimes, and making some progress is enough, and identifying the feeling of like, I think I can do this, but I'm not sure I can do this. And obviously there's a lot of quarantine in this song, and there's a lot of 2020 in this song. But really, there's just a lot of life in this song, I hope. And it doesn't have to be too specific. And I confess, I'm having a weird moment of wondering if I played you guys this song, but I don't think that I did. And if I did, I'm going to play it for you again. It's called A Little Longer, and it goes like this. Harder to love you, too difficult to quit. Sometimes I feel too much, sometimes I think nothing. Can I keep you in my heart if you won't fit in my head? Sometimes I think too much, sometimes I feel nothing. I'm far from where I'm headed, but a little further from where I was. Just holding on to the hope that home ain't where you're from. 'Cause they're back there dragging chains, spelling names out in the dust. And I'm far from where I'm headed, but a little further from where I was. And there are harder days ahead. They keep saying it's gonna end, but they can't say exactly when. So it's just a little longer, now just a little more. It's just another day, and the thousands that came before. Now tired is more than a feeling, and lonely is more than a word. They talk about the healing, but never tell you how it hurts. If I could keep myself together, well, I could hold up the whole world. But tired is more than a feeling, and lonely is more than a word. There are harder days ahead. They keep saying it's gonna end, but they can't say exactly when. So it's just a little longer, and and now just a little more. It's just another day, and the thousands that came before. It's just another day, and the thousands that came before. All right. There were some hiccups there. It's a new song, and like I said, it's early in the day. But I feel good about it. It's one of the things about committing to doing stuff live. You know, obviously what you're seeing is pre-recorded, but it's not chopped up or edited. And there's a freedom in that if you can get yourself there, because you make a mistake and you just have to let it go. Because you go like, well, I can't fix it. And then you start racking up those mistakes, and hopefully you begin to learn that, like, a mistake isn't the end of the world, you know, as my voice cracks. This is what I get for telling you guys that my throat was feeling better. But if nothing else, spirits are high, you know? I feel good today, and I hope you guys do too. In an effort to keep you feeling good, I'm going to give you some recommendations, and then I'm going to send you on your way. So here we go. This band is called The Tillers. This record is also called The Tillers. I don't know these guys, though we have some friends in common. You know, were we to end up on a bill together, we would have things to talk about. But I've never met them. I've never seen them live. But I had heard the name a lot. And I think I was in Madison playing a show, or maybe it was Iowa. I was somewhere outside of the house, and it was so long ago that I ever left the house that I can't remember. I think it was Iowa. And I was at a record store before the show, just flipping through bins, and I saw this record, and it looked good, and I recognized the name, and it has a Woody Guthrie song on it, and I thought, I'm going to buy that record, and I did buy this record, and I brought it home, and I put it on the shelf, and I did not listen to it. And that happens sometimes, you know, it's part of the fun. And then something like a pandemic rolls around, and you get locked in your house for 250 something days, and you start looking at that shelf and going like, oh, I never listened to that Tillers record. Let's give that a spin. And it's awesome. It's great. I would call them a string band. I think other people would call them like a roots band, or maybe some people would call them a bluegrass band. I don't quite see them that way, but genres are stupid and reductive. So it's great. If you like banjos and fiddles and great melodies, check this out. They're from Ohio, as is my understanding. Check out the first song, The Wheeled and the Wild. And it's a great tune, and it opens with a sweet fiddle rip. So dig it. Up next, and finally, we have this record by Owen. Owen is not a human being's name in this instance. Owen is the musical project of a gentleman named Mike Kinsella, who's from the Chicago area and is in a lot of important indie bands and that kind of thing. And his, quote, solo project is called Owen. This record, the title is in French, and I'm not going to embarrass myself or you on my behalf by trying to say it, but it means the friend of the people. And it's the only record he has in French, so just, you'll find it. And I'll drop you a link. But I really love, I think Owen might be my favorite thing that Mike Kinsella does. And this record in particular, it's really interesting. He strikes a lot of balances where there's a lot of sadness in this record, but it kind of feels hopeful. There's a really kind of simplistic intimacy to this record, but there's a lot of experimentation and big moments. And the cover's awesome. and I just really like it. He's a really innovative guitar player, and I'm a big fan. So check out I Got High by Owen, and I hope you enjoy. I think you will. I do my best, like I've said in the past, to recommend stuff that I think you guys will actually like. It proves challenging sometimes because I listen to a lot of punk rock and hip hop and really heavy stuff, and I'm not sure that this podcast is the avenue to recommend a lot of that stuff. So if I spend a week kind of deep in the punk rock world, as I did this past week, I sort of have to rack my brain to be like, what can I recommend to them? But then it's fun because I hadn't listened to Owen in a while, and I saw it on the shelf, and I was like, oh, I recommend Owen. And I always try to listen to the record the night before or the morning of the podcast that I recommend the record on, so it's fresh in my mind. So recommending stuff to you guys is also helping me remember stuff. Finally, the toy drive is going. The 10th annual toy drive to benefit the kiddos at Harbor House is going right now. If you see this on Wednesday, it will be the final day out of 4 of the toy drive. But if you click my YouTube page, you'll see all the videos listed, and those will stay up for a while. And there's a GoFundMe link where you can kick in some money so we can buy some presents for these kids. 100% of the money goes to the cause. And thank you all very much for supporting an event that means a lot to me, and for being flexible and gentle as we try to navigate these new waters. And there's a lot of musicians being forced way out of their comfort zone. And for example, if you can believe it, and you probably can because you see how often I look down and to the left, I don't like being on camera. I don't like getting my picture taken. I don't like videos and that kind of thing. But I like playing music, and I like connecting with people, and that is something that you do face to face, and this is the only way we can be face to face. So here we are. The sacrifice we're both making is putting up with me being on camera. All right, let's get out of here. I love you guys. I hope you're well. Yeah, I just hope really good things for all of you. I hope as you prepare for the holiday season and Thanksgiving coming up, that it goes well and there's not too much weirdness with trying to navigate the COVID world in a season that's supposed to be a lot about community and togetherness. I'm going to go ahead and still do the podcast, I think, next week, just on the off chance that any of you are stuck at home and you need something to do and someone to talk to or listen to, I guess. We have a weird relationship. Speaking of, thank you to all of you that reach out, to all of you that donate especially, but to everyone. I get letters from people, digital ones and like physical letters, and it's really cool. I really appreciate it. People have sent me books and music recommendations, and it's awesome, and I really appreciate it. But I'm looking forward to seeing you guys again someday, hopefully someday soon. Until then, be well, and we'll see you next week. Bye.